Hey guys, what's going on? Troy at Mountain Man Treasure. It looks like we've already got a whole bunch of people jumping in tonight, which is awesome. Thanks for coming by. I think it's going to be a really good show. I try to bring in good guests, and we've talked with resellers. And I thought, you know what? Let's go behind the curtain. Let's go on the other side of the counter. We're talking with Aaron tonight. Or look at that, he's got Big Sky Resale down there as his name. That's not even the name of the store, but that's what I've named you. What you've got? You've got
a name this out. I should have did Big Sky Thrift. Yes, that's what I should have put. Damn,
okay.
I should have thought about that. Dang it. That's what you named me.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That would have been a better name.
I say big. Well, you didn't come to me first.
I know. I should have.
Okay. I saw Chris in here earlier, and we've got Red Cardinal Treasures. Miss Jane is in here. She says she's only going to listen tonight. So that's okay. If you're listening, if you're packing, that's a good thing. We'll try to be your podcast for the evening. We've got Beth picking Georgia Peaches is in. I just bought a couple things out of her store. She's fantastic, and she is always here for the lives and here on my shows. So Beth, thanks very much. Always supporting me, which is really, really cool. And there's Marsha here, Red Cardinal Treasures. We've got Papa Sticks Treasures coming in. You're bringing in quite a crew already here, man.
I know they're all got.
Look at this guy. You know this guy.
I can't tell that guy any of my secrets, dude. I gotta.
This guy, you know what? Mark already knows the secrets. Mark,
he's a badass.
Mark is good. Marsha is listening and listening. Yeah. So thanks for coming in, guys. I sure appreciate it. For those that are just showing up because they show up on Monday nights and they don't know what we're doing here. Aaron is he runs Big Sky Resale. It's a new thrift store here in town. Well, I say new. Kelly says don't know the other guy. Yeah, we're gonna introduce you to the other guy, Kelly. He is not a reseller in the traditional sense, but he runs a thrift store. I guess introduce us to you first while people are popping in here. Just sort of give us what's. I'm kind of scared asking this, but what's Aaron's life story?
Thrifting. That's been my whole life, really. My mom was a big thrifter, went to a lot of flea markets, things like that. And I've always just loved thrifting. My life story, that could be long, so we don't have that much time. The last 15 years of my life has been trying to buy and resell goods. I wasn't really big on eBay, of course. I sold stuff here and there. And then I worked for a pawn shop, which I really seen how much used goods could really go for. Then I transitioned into another thrift store in town here, being the store manager for a few years. And I just was like, I didn't want to be the middleman anymore. And I kind of just missed that old school thrift store vibe of cheap prices and really great treasures. So I decided last year, I quit my job and I was going to open a thrift store. And here we are.
Yeah. And is it 2 months in? You're pushing 3 months now?
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been really good.
That's pretty cool. I mean, how does that feel to be able to say that? We're 3 months in and we're not worried about the lights getting turned off on us.
Not yet. No, but that's the thrift store game. I mean, I just knew this town and I just know that it's needed. They want a place where you can, get that old school vibe of like, just, when you walk in, you find something and you get excited, especially if you're a reseller, like, oh man, I'm going to make some money on this, or that's a good deal. And that's what those garage sales sometimes are good for. Not all garage sales, we've been to some bad ones. So I wanted to bring that back. I just wanted people just to find really cool stuff for cheap.
Yeah, Kelly says that's what her mom is doing right now. Her and partner opened a store selling all of their own stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, and Tina made it in. You're not late. We're just chatting. We were waiting on you, Tina. So thanks for coming by. So I guess you've got several different things there that we can dig into, Aaron. I mean, first, there's something that I haven't dug into at all here in town in terms of sourcing is the pawn shop thing. That is a viable place to source, though, right? I mean, you've been in that world. You understand how that works.
Well, I think it is in some aspects. I mean, they're there to make money also, so they're like a hybrid. Hybrid seller, really. I mean, when people would bring stuff in, the first thing you do is look it up, see how much it is, and you're going to try to get what you can. That's here in Helena. I don't know what other pawn shops do. I'm sure there's other pawn shops that are massive and they can't look up everything, But yeah, I think it is a good spot, especially like in the video game section, things like that. They get so much there, especially turnover for employees. You're going to find cool stuff in there. So yeah, the pawn shops are a good place if, in some aspects. I mean, we've been
in
all
certain areas, so you got to get me in the right area. I know he shows up sometimes in the Media Marauder. He sells a lot of DVDs, Blu-rays, video games, that sort of thing. And I know he goes into thrift stores, or into pawn shops and picks them up for like $1, and then flip them for like $10, and easy money.
Yeah, for sure.
So how long did you do that in the pawn shop?
5 years.
Okay.
5 years I was in the pawn shop game, and it was all right. It was the pawn shop. What do? It's kind of a rough job. You get people coming in, and some of these people really need money, and you feel horrible. So I'm kind of a pretty nice guy, and I hated like having I'll give you $10 for your $50 item, So I kind of I got burnt out and wanted to leave. But I did see that used goods, once again, used goods. I mean, we are a people of throwaway and good throwaway in a lot of, time. So I decided, man, that's just where it's at, used goods.
Marsha, Aaron is same place I am here in Montana, the capital of the Treasure State, Helena, Montana. We're about 30 some odd thousand people. So it's kind of for Montana, it's a little bit bigger. But
I'm gonna take my horse home later.
Right.
So that's where it's at. If you didn't know.
So it's not out of the realm. I've seen it. And so you then moved into working at Good Samaritan thrift store. That's another thrift store here in town. Folks have seen me go into it a few times. I don't go into it a ton because it's super expensive, frankly. But you spent a couple of years there?
Yeah, about almost 4.
Okay. So tell us kind of what was your experience at Good Sam? I mean, as the manager of a thrift store, and this is for folks that don't know, I mean, I don't know square footage, but it's a big thrift store.
It's 33,000 square foot. I mean, it's big. And that's it's a good sized thrift store. And that's like the whole store. So you'd have to think at least 20,000 square foot is probably store place, So store. So it's a thrift store. It's hard, you get a place that big and that many employees. And that's why sometimes the prices were high or up and down and they're kind of mismanaged, is because it's hard to manage a thrift store. There's nothing like it at all. Like you go to a Hobby Lobby, you know what you're getting brought to you on a truck and you know how much it price. But the thrift store is you get what you get and you just do your best you can. And it's a pretty hectic place. I always say organized chaos.
So what was the mindset? I mean, you were the manager, so you kind of, at least in some aspects, set the mindset, but you still had bosses. I mean, explain to us what is sort of that typical thrift store mindset? I mean, it's going to be different for local thrift stores, right? And it's a little different for Good Samaritan than it is for Goodwill, just because it's a corporation, but they're still broken out regionally. So there's differences, but it's sort of in that middle ground between Goodwill and your mom and pop. I think a good idea of that thrift store mentality, even if it's not necessarily your own. What is it in terms of pricing things and resellers and all of that?
Well, I think at the end of it, looking it up and kind of trying to say, well, this item, sold for $50 on eBay, we're going to put 45 on it, or we're going to put 50. And I think that's where a lot of thrift stores go wrong nowadays is, your name is Thrift. It's not, boutique. If it was a boutique, just let us know and we just probably wouldn't shop there. So yeah, that's the biggest thing is people, especially the Good Sam, which is a great place to do a lot of good stuff for a lot of people around here. But you start seeing what stuff is priced and you think that the market here in Helena can bear it, and it's not reality. But that's the problem with that place. I think it's good. Same with Goodwill. Goodwill's gotten to the point where they're a multi-billion-dollar company, if not more, multi-million. But just sell it and do it themselves. They just got too trigger happy with money.
So why are prices? I think people have noticed across the country, prices go up. I mean, in the last 6-8 months, year, whatever, prices at thrift stores are typically going up. Why is that? I mean, because you're getting it for free.
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I think if there's overhead on anything, you have bills. I mean, I can't speak for every thrift store. I know the Good Samaritan had a lot of overhead in the aspect of they help a lot of people, I know that. That should never be a reason why you overprice items, because you are getting them for free. And I always say those people that are donating, those people that are buying from you are the same people that are donating to you. So it's like a win-win. You're making money consistently. So I don't know why. I think it all comes down to the greed and people figuring out that they can get more money for items instead of that old school thrift store cheap stuff for fun.
Yeah. Are they comping stuff? I mean, because sometimes you go through and you look at stuff and you're like, that's exactly what I could sell it for on eBay. I mean, are they doing comping things?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think they're comping as much as they can. And then you have some people that have been doing it there or worked there for a while, and they kind of say, oh, these are rails or these are so-and-so, and I know they're worth good money. Let's put 20 bucks on them without really even looking at the price. I mean, so I think they comp a little for sure. And some of it just leading blind, I mean, they got so many workers coming in and out. You try to set a goal for people, but they're going to do what they want at the end of the day, for so much dollars an hour, barely enough to live. They're just going to push out what they want. So you're going to get really cheap prices, or you're going to get really over, price stuff. And then you have bosses saying, I want this and that, but there's never a clear line what you really want. And then it's just a shit show, excuse my language. So you just come to it down, because I've been to some thrift stores where I'm like, oh, this is really overpriced. But then there's some over here, I'm like, maybe that should have been priced a little more. That thing should have been down a little more. So it's just a lot of knowledge. I mean, a thrift store, you get everything. So it's really hard in that aspect. Like nothing's set in stone, like a box store.
Yeah. So what was the mindset when you were at Good Samaritan? What was the mindset toward resellers? I mean, because at some point you're able to pick out the people that are not there all the time because they're shopping, between the people who are there all the time with their cell phone out, looking stuff up. You can tell who we are.
Well, the mindset, and it wasn't my mindset, but I would say the upper management didn't like resellers. And I never really understood that. I mean, these people are coming in, buying your items consistently, and it was money. So, no, I don't. I don't know if the Goodwills are like that. I'm sure there's some thrift stores, but yeah, they didn't like resellers. They thought, oh, they're buying up other good stuff, or they're buying this and that. And there's some people that will, wait for racks to come out. We won't name names on here, but and go get what they got to get, and that's the hustle. So, oh my God, look at that!
Oh.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, I thought my phone.
my phone. Last week, my phone went off, so you're good.
Right. So let's connect to my computer. So I forgot that. What was I saying?
You were actually
about pickers. Yeah, and eBayers. So they personally, that place I was at, I was really a negative vibe towards them, and like, oh, they can't get this and they should do this. They would be upset about it. And I always just thought, man, like, they're paying money and they're paying some of your freaking, like, the prices you were trying to get outrageously, stuff for. So, So that was one of the things when I opened up here, I wanted to be open to pickers. I wanted to be open to eBay people, because like we're all just trying to make a living and survive. And it was donated to me. So if I can get a little bit of a cut, and I know you and me have made some deals sometimes, like if I get my piece, you get your piece, I'm good with that. Like there's enough for all of us. And I really believe that. So that's a different thrift store mentality that I wanted to go with.
Yeah. And I think it's refreshing, and it's just, it is interesting that it seems to be the manager that's running that store that you used to be at now, absolutely against resellers. Like, I mean, she doesn't hide it. I had asked to make a bulk deal on something there at one point. She says, well, what are you going to do with them? And it was like, well, I'm thinking, why does that matter? I'm offering to buy something that literally it's still, some of those shoes still on the shelf there. They're going to sell locally, like a year later.
Yeah.
And she, because she knew what I was going to do with it, I told her, I said, well, I'm going to resell it. It's going to take me a long time, but it's going to sell better on my platform than it will here locally. They're soccer cleats. Nobody's coming in looking for 25, 30-year-old soccer cleats here in Helena, Montana. Somebody out there is, but they're not here. And the logic didn't land. She just didn't like what I was going to do with them. And so she said no. And I thought it was interesting.
And that's silly. Like, who cares? I remember those cleats. I remember going in there a few times and seeing them. And I'm just like, who's going to buy all this? Like, who cares? Like, I mean, somebody who would resell them. They're in the box still, right? Yeah, and I thought, and they were older, but I mean, like you said, put them on there, sit on them. What's it to that? Who cares about? Who cares? That's more shelf space for more items. I just never understood that. That I had a lot of reasons why I left there, and I won't talk bad about the place because they do a lot of good stuff. But in the aspect of, I just was like over it. Like, there's got to be a better way that we can be, have humanity and just give really good deals. Just be a human. Like, who cares? You want all those shoes? Sweet. How much do you want them for? Let's make a deal. Get them out of here.
So that seems like a pretty common feeling, though, in thrift stores across the board, of they don't like resellers coming in buying all their stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I thought maybe you'd have some insight into why they don't like it, but I
don't know why they don't like it. I don't know. It makes no sense to me either. I always was baffled. So when I was there, I was kind of like, the manager, and there's some other managers and like people that have been there before me. So I kind of just like went with it, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, they shouldn't. Why are they buying 20 jackets? Like, who gives a shit? Right. Like, you know what I mean? But I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go with that. I just never understood that. That's like I said when I opened this place. I'm like, let's bring all the money in. Like, let's do this. Like, I don't want any of this. You get it.
Yeah. So you mentioned, of course, all of your inventory. Well, the bulk of your inventory, at least at your place, it's donated. People just give it to you. Mm-hmm. How does that work? Explain that part of it, because I think there's some mystery behind, how it comes from those people's garage to your floor. I mean, what does that look like?
Well, first of all, of course, like getting donations, I give 10% away each month to a charity. That's what we try to push. We give a lot of stuff away out of our store. I am a for-profit, but I like to just give back as much as I can. So therefore, that's that. But somebody drops off a couple boxes of donations. Sometimes in the spring and summer, it gets crazy. We know there's tons of garage sales. So I kind of pack that stuff away until we get into the winter months so I can, source through it. But a lot of the time for me, it's, a box comes in, it's all good stuff. I price it right then and there and push it out. Sometimes I'll put stuff off to the side for some guys that I think, like yourself, that might want it. But it's mainly at box the store. Some other places sort it. They have different departments. They have media, electronics, all that. I'm too small at the moment to have those, so I'm doing it all myself. So as I pull it right out the box, I price it and I sling it out. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been doing this a while. If I see something that's really amazing or awesome, of course, I'm not going to throw it on the shelf right away. I'm going to see if somebody wants it that I know, maybe you or maybe somebody else around that I could sell to, make a little extra money. Because in the end game, I like money, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm like, but I don't do that with everything. Like I really don't want that to be with everything. I've let a lot of cool things go for really cheap, and I knew I could probably make some money off of it. But eBay and all that stuff, I'm no good at. Not that I'm no good at, but you have to be consistent. It's a job in itself. And right now, I'm just I'm just neck high in donations, so I'm just trying to push them out as much as I can. Like I said, I wanted to bring that vibe back, is like just finding cool stuff. Yeah. So. It's just a really easy processing. You've been in that room. You've seen it. I mean, some days are better than others in there. There's stuff I have. I don't even know what I have. But, yeah, so really just donation to process to put it out. And hopefully.
What did that look like going back at Good Sam? Because it's a bigger operation. Did they have sorting? I mean, they have different people running different departments there? Did they
sorting tables?
That stuff?
Yeah, sorting tables. Yep. And then they have jewelry, and then, a miscellaneous box, and then crafts box, and then all those things. So then they would get, once they got full, they got taken to each department in the back, and then those people would process through it. You can imagine spring and the summer, Goodwill and Good Sam are the two biggest ones in this town, and they get tons of stuff, and when I got on there, they probably a pretty good backlog of stuff for at least a year or two. So getting through all that. So, a lot of stuff.
And the people sorting it are just the people running the departments who aren't necessarily experts in that field, right? I mean, it's not like, hey, they're not putting ads out saying, hey, we need a shoe guy.
Well, they do, but they're not like, where did you work before? Like,
right.
And that's the problem too. It's a nonprofit, of course, which we understand that they're, they make money, but so you're not getting paid a lot, $9 to $10 an hour to process these things. So you're not a professional in it. All you have is what the managers kind of asked you to have. And when you're running a place that big and being somewhat unorganized at times, you fall short. And sometimes you're not there to, train every person because you have so much in and out with people. So you're just kind of give them a quick thing. And sometimes these places these departments are running themselves on people that are not all the way qualified to, do electronics. And so they lean on eBay, and they lean on looking how much this stuff sold. And then they say they saw this receiver and it was going for $80 on eBay. Then they run to a manager. Hey, look, this is what I kind of found. What do you think about this? And they're like, oh, let's put $50 on it. Instead of saying $10 for a receiver, push it out, like it should be more that way, but it's not. And, and I think getting back, you have managers in the past or anything. I think for us, before I kind of got there, you would put something out on the floor. It was like, and it was, say, a receiver, we'll go to that again, 10 or 20 bucks. And then you have somebody behind you go, no, that's pretty chat. That should be 40. And then you get these employees that are scared to put out anything. So everything's just high price, boom, boom, boom. And
that's why you see the same receiver sitting on the floor for,
and didn't even get through half price. Like nobody wanted it. Yeah.
Right. Lone Star Picker had a question for you. As thrift stores assume price ranges, what can resellers do to counterbalance the mentality in order to elevate our relationship and business process? I don't think we want to riot and protest, man.
I know. Who is this guy? He's pretty awesome. God, let me reread this to myself.
So, I think essentially is, we recognize as resellers, sometimes the prices are just going to be too high. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good point. I've talked about it on the show before. Farmer Mark is still, if he's still in here, Mark is one of the best I've ever seen at forming relationships with the people working at the store. I'm friendly. I'm nice with the people at Goodwill. Some of them, Terry, the lady that runs the register, a lot of times she calls me Mountain Man. She knows what I do. She knows, yeah. But Mark goes up and says, oh, hey, how are your kids? How is it? Mark's got a friendship with these people, whereas I'm friendly because he's in there all the time. He's like the next door neighbor. That's a part of it, right? Is building relationship with the workers.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, building a relationship with the workers for sure. That's number one. Besides getting there on half price or great deals, because like here in Goodwill now they don't even do the dollar days here. In Helena, it's all set price now, so you can't even get a good deal for $1 or even find those. And our thrift store, the Good Samaritan, does half price at the beginning of each month. I think every Friday. So it's really, really hard to find good deals nowadays. And I don't know how you offset that. I think you're right. Relationships like Farmer Mark, whatever your name is. You want me to say Mark? We'll say Mark. Farmer Mark. I built a relationship with him and I know what he likes. So when it comes through my store, he likes a certain brand or a certain thing. I'll throw him off to the side. He stops in every once in a while. We'll bullshit. I'm like, hey buddy, I got a pile for you. But it's because he built that relationship with me because I care about him. And he cares about my business, and he always gives me a fair deal. Even though I'm a thrift store, he gives me sometimes over cost of what I would sell it normally. So building relationships is probably your best bet. And being there first. I tell everybody, be there every day if you can. And I know some people are part-time resellers, and some people can't do that. We have a life, but being there consistently is just the key to.
And that's why I think I fell into not having. Mark has a great niche, and because he's there all the time, he can hunt his section, then go to the next store and hunt that section, then come back. I think as me being part-time, the only way I'm going to make it work is to get the random stuff, right? Yeah. Like I have to look everywhere in order to find those one-off items.
What sucks for you too is you live in a place where it gets cold for 8 months and we're not doing garage sales and you're not doing all those things. So you really got to really work at it during the summertime, definitely to find.
I've got 400 Hot Wheels that are going to last part of the winter.
Yeah, that should do you well.
This is the guy that I don't know if you blessed me or cursed me with those. We'll decide here in about a month.
Yeah, I looked down at my bottom and I said, I don't want to deal with this. We'll figure this out later. Come on over. And I didn't realize when you had them all in that bed, I was like, holy moly, that was a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, a lot. Once I started unpacking them, I was almost through one box and it filled about 2/3 of the bed. And I thought, oh, this is not gonna work. Roxanne says that I am friendly. So there you go.
Yeah, very nice. And he sounds very good on the radio.
Well, I try
every morning.
They pay me to talk.
Very soothing.
Yeah. Relationships are huge. I'll have a worker discount stuff just for me, or even charge the price at the register because I'm a consistent buyer at their business. Yeah. That exactly. And Lone Star says, glad you picked up on a basic human interaction and fun-loving, compassionate dialogue, and also business model of networking. Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. And I want to use Mark again as an example, just because it's super impressive to me. I would be there at the same time as Mark at the Goodwill. And now some of these ladies have left because the management just did not treat them well enough. Mark's having to start over a little bit, but they would, I would stand there as they say, "Oh, come on over here. There's a Patagonia here. I want to show you." And then there was other times where they say, "Oh, I've got a new rack of clothes. I was waiting till you showed up to bring it out."
Yeah.
I mean, that's 100% level of relational picking. And I think that's what we all have to aspire to. Ivan says I'm friendly. So, I guess I got that going for me anyway.
Well, you seem friendly on here. We don't know what the real story is, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Roxanne said, she's not going to lie. She'll tell you this. Nikki T says she's listening and lurking. So Nikki T, thanks for coming by. Yeah, Marcia says year-round garage sales in Florida. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm shocked that our garage sales honestly are still going. I thought they were going to be done. I don't know what this weekend looks like. I don't know. It's Roxanne keeps telling me, you said last week was going to be the last weekend. I know, but I know it's coming. Michigan Pickers is in here. Thanks for stopping by. Beth, thanks so much. We got some of the best couples on YouTube, Roxanne and Troy and Rev. Yeah, Rev and Nikki T. If you guys aren't subscribed, go check out Rev Resale. That's Nikki T's lesser half. I don't know how to say it. No, Rev is good. David's a fantastic guy. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess kind of circling back to talking about how you get all your donations. I mean, it's sort of a fascinating business model, right? And I know you're doing it differently, saying, hey, we're giving you good prices. You donate 10% every month to a nonprofit. You're doing great stuff. But, in theory, the profit model is, hey, I want to make money. So can you give me your stuff so I can make money off of it? Yeah. I mean, that's what you're doing. And people are flocking to give you stuff.
Well, this is the thing. When I would work on the back dock at the other thrift store I was at, I would work it. And half those people did not care that we were a nonprofit. Most of the time, they just wanted to get rid of their stuff, and they were happy it went somewhere else and somebody used it. And then it clicked in my brain is, why am I the middleman? Why do I have to be the one that manages this place, but I'm not receiving all the benefits and doing what I want to do? And so I just thought, hey, let's do it. And it's been like outpouring. Of course, 10% helps. I think that you have that niche. People know that at least it's going somewhere. But I'm a for-profit, so I can't give people write-offs and things like that. And they know that. I tell them straight up, I can't give you a write-off. I'm a for-profit. And people don't care. But I think it goes back to being friendly, being kind, being considerate, giving people good deals. I'll will and deal. I'll do all those things. So people are like, this guy's a good guy. Like, I know he's doing his best. Let me give him his stuff. And I take it. Yeah. All of it,
Yeah, you guys don't. You guys. I mean, I think you guys can get a sense of it. But Aaron is. Aaron's incredible with customer service. I mean, it's kind of fun. Sometimes I'm in his store and I'm not even shopping. I'm watching him interact with other people, and it's really neat. He says hi to everybody. There's relationships being built with customers. So that's the way that it should be done. And it's neat to see you're not just trying to make a buck. I mean, ultimately that's what you're trying to do, but that's not what you're doing.
But you've got to build relationships. You want to make those bucks. I have a lady that loves anything Japanese. She's into it. And when I see that stuff, I set it to the side for her. And when she comes in, it's a very sweet lady. When she comes in, I go, hey, I got some cool stuff. You want to check it out? And half the time she doesn't buy any of it. But it's not about that. It's about knowing that I care about her and I found something and I'll, do that for her. And I have a wish list here. Like if you come in and you really want something bad, you put your name on a pen, a paper, and I put it on a list. And when it comes in, if I see it, I'll call you up. And I don't think a lot of thrift stores do that, but what do I want it for? I mean, I want to sell it, but that's just that interaction with people and just like knowing that they're important. And a lot of people come in for shopping therapy for one. For two, they want to see a friendly face and somebody who's kind to them and remembers their name and who they are. And like I said, it's not about money, but if you don't get the basics of, customer service down first, you'll never make any money.
So talking about donations, you get all sorts of stuff, whether it's at your store or previously at Good Sam. I don't know. What's the weirdest thing, first off, that you've seen come in? I mean, that's a dangerous list probably to ask for.
Well, I get that all the time, and I don't even remember that. That's the thing, is like there's so much stuff. Like you go through so much of it. I mean, I've seen a lot of cool stuff come through. I mean, antique furniture, old antique for 1890, 1900. A lot of cool groovy stuff. I can't remember anything crazy. I mean, I opened a box of dildos one time. That was weird. But why would you donate that? I don't know. But we put them in the trash. But there's a lot of, I can't imagine. I've seen so much stuff that came through. I mean, canoes. When we worked at that store, and people donated canoes to us. I mean, kayaks. I mean, stuff that's a couple $100, if not more. I mean,
you can go on Marketplace and sell in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. So and I don't know if people just don't want to deal with that. Do they just go, I'm just going to donate? I'm just going to be down to donate it, because you get so much stuff. I mean, we all, especially as resellers, you have a dead pile full of stuff, and you're like, God, what am I going to do with all this? I think people do the same thing with their stuff in their house. I mean, kids grow, things like that. And they just got to get rid of it, and they're okay to wherever.
So what's maybe the most expensive thing? Like you got that and you're like, well, you mentioned some of it kind of there, but it's like, wow, why would you donate this?
Well, when I worked at the Good Samaritan, there's many things. I mean, there was, in purses, like cash money. I don't know. Here at the store here, I found a bunch of silverware, real silver, and it was over $1,000 for the silver. And I just think to myself, do they not know, or get somebody whose parent dies and just got to clear the house out and go back to wherever they're from, So, I mean, that was a great score. I had a lady stop by and told me, hey, here's a whole bag of silver watches. I don't want them anymore. You have them. And I said, okay, whatever, silver watches. And it was a big bag. And I looked in there and they're all silver watches. And I'm thinking to myself, the watch itself was worth money more than the silver. I just thought to myself, well, what are you doing? You didn't want to deal with this? Fine, I'll take it. But so there's been a lot of crazy things, I mean,
Tina says she may volunteer at a local charity thrift just to get a first glimpse of good stuff. I shop there at least once a week, and like the money stays local to help many great causes. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I love helping Aaron out. I mean, he's become a friend, but he's also donating back to the community. And yeah, I mean, it's cool to shop the locals. I'm not.
And she's not down. She's not
goodwill.
She's not talking about. She's going to do in her local thrift store.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could volunteer at your place and get first look.
Well, that's the thing. What I do differently with volunteers, and I think this is really important too, is at different thrift stores, especially because Sam or a place like that, you have to wait 24 hours before you buy items, and you have to buy them out of your pocket. You're just you're volunteering, and that's it. And you may have you get 25% off or something like that. At my store, I pay you $10 an hour store credit, and you get first dibs on anything you see. And I don't care if I just put it out. I think it's really important, especially with volunteers, treat them like gold, because they're putting their time in and not getting paid. So that ladies come in and say, oh, I really like this. Can I work 2 hours? It was $20. I'm like, yeah, you can just work 1 hour and take it. But that's what I think is important. So what she'll see, and hopefully the thrift store that you do volunteer at, you don't get a bad taste in your mouth, because sometimes that does happen. They really don't treat their volunteers very well. Hopefully, you can travel here and come over here to me. I got some good stuff. But
yeah, I mean, what has been the process like for you opening this store? I mean, going back a little bit to how that all got started, because I think there are people on here thinking, I'd love to have some kind of storefront. I'd love to transition maybe from eBay to storefront, or let's do both. Let's have my eBay inventory out on the floor. If it sells on one, I take it off the other. How did opening a physical location work for you? What was that process like?
Well, I mean, it was to be honest, I left last July at the Good Sam. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I loved used goods. I knew I loved selling. I knew I loved people. My wife talked to me and just said, one day she just came to me, because Aaron, I could tell that you're depressed. It's been a couple of months. I didn't work. I had money in the bank, and she said, let's just open a thrift store. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay. And then this before COVID, mind you, so we looked around for some places, and it was kind of really expensive. You don't want to pay all this money for, to get into a place and sell $2, $3 items, who knew? And I didn't know if it was going to work. So we hit phase 2 after COVID, and mind you, I opened in a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's that's a big jump. So we opened up, and the transition itself has been amazing. I mean, the Helena community in a lot of aspects is really giving, and really helpful, I can give that 100%. Like they've helped me so much and grow. And I thought, some people ask me, they go, well, is there things that you learned along the way when you started this, or was it really hard? And it wasn't. It was like super easy. Like once we hit phase 2, I found this place, and mind you, I did all this on my own savings. I didn't go get a loan from a bank. This is all from our savings, so I was able to do that. So I'm debt free in the aspect of owing any money. But hopefully, I'm not rambling on the question. But it's been really good. I mean, the transition, it's been the easiest thing I've ever done. And if you there's taxes and there's overhead, and I think sometimes people want a brick and mortar, and that's a great idea. But you might lose more money. You might as well just keep going out of your garage and, or maybe get a little warehouse if you're getting bigger. But I don't know if I do a brick and mortar, not in this day and age. I mean, everything's going on online anyway. I think just having a thrift store is a niche, and we needed one bad in this town. I don't know what it's like in other towns, So.
Yeah. One thing I've thought about is if it's in your area, unfortunately here it's not. I'm telling Aaron to open one. Like to have a booth, essentially like an antique booth, but it's more like a thrift mall. I don't know what to call it. Not necessarily an antique booth, but everybody has their stuff. I'd love to have a place like that where you could have like your little 10 by 10. We've got an antique mall here in town, but and once people get in it, they don't leave. So that would be a cool thing to open up. And so I think if people have bigger stuff or have aspirations of, I want to see what a brick and mortar would look like, maybe see if you've got an antique mall or a thrift mall type of thing. Try that. Do a little booth and see how that works. Maybe that's Aaron's next step during our next pandemic. He'll open another business. Well, I do have goals. Those are true goals. I would like to, I have a lot of ultimate goals. I do push myself. It would be sweet to have like an antique shop in town, have a clothing store in town, and have a thrift shop in town, and push those things in different items. Because, you get a lot of antique items. If I really did it well, I still want people to come in and, find cool antique items for cheap. But there's some, I mean, you could have a little booth downtown, antique shop, and some of the stuff that I'm getting processed through go over there. I mean, there's many ways to do things. Yeah. I could own the whole strip mall here, hopefully one day. I like it. Well, when you open the booth, I'm going to move in. So, we'll do that.
I think that's a good idea. I honestly think if you're down for that and you have some ideas, I've thought about that. Like the Golden Girls of that antique shop they have, but do it for guys like us. Do it for guys that, you just get a big spot and you have all sorts of cool stuff in there.
There's plenty of resellers in our town, so I know there's plenty of resellers all over the place.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Just like have a big mall. That'd be awesome. That's a good idea.
Question: What's your annual or 5-year goal outlook, and what do you want to see and wish to see yourself with respect where you'd like to be? Where do you want? Essentially, give us your 5-year. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
I want to be, it's all location. Yeah, location. I'm behind our Walmart here, and it's kind of a weird spot. So my 5-year goal, man, is to just get a little bit bigger, but not too crazy big because overhead's crazy, and just keep pumping out good stuff. Like that's my goal. I want to be worth some money, and I want to own a spot. I guess that would be the main thing because it's all about equity. If I could, buy a store and then just build that thrift store up. And maybe I named it Big Sky Resale so I can move around the state if I wanted to. I would love to move to a town like Butte. We have Butte, Montana. I would love to be able to go over there. And I think this town, even the state's lacking on good thrift stores. I mean, it really is. I mean, even we have Great Falls, which has like 5 or 6, but they're all crap. You have to go to Goodwill in that place to find anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question very well, but.
Yeah. Marcia says, she says not to open a thrift store next to a cigar bar. Yeah, that's rough.
No. Open one next to a marijuana shop because that's the demographic, man. I've already thought this. Like they're all going up around here. Little pot shop, little thrift shop. It's a duo.
Together.
Yeah, we could maybe have a coffee shop next to it and a gym. Who needs a no, a gym's a bad idea, but
The Amazon return product stores seem to be popping up, but not near me. Yeah, I've seen people doing well off of those lately. We don't have one of those either. We don't have the Goodwill bins. We don't have any of that. So
I heard something about Amazon was coming here.
Are they?
I heard something. Somebody was opening up an Amazon store. I don't know if they're just going to do it. And it's hard. This town's a hard place to have anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Aaron, I mean, you touched on it earlier, but I mean, what are you, because you've come from that world, and I know you have a different mindset. You have more of a reseller mindset. You know, like all these people that are watching, you're thinking about stuff the same way that we are. But you know, are there some tips that can help resellers succeed, find stuff better at thrift stores? I mean, there's got to be something that people can do to be a little bit more successful.
The one thing that I see you do a lot, and I always tell everybody, is like, don't just walk in there. And I see this with some resellers too. Like I have some guys in here, I know they resell, they do a quick walk of what they like. Like one guy likes electronics and all he goes into electronics, blah, blah, blah. And then he's gone in like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. But you, and I see you do this a lot, is take your time. And that's the biggest thing I can say, because I, as a person putting stuff out, I don't have time to look up everything, you know, and there's a lot of toys that you've scored. And I know there's one that you scored really well on.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to look it up. I put it out there, put like $5 on it, and was it. So I think, you know, taking your time and really just going through everything. And I know that it's hard, especially if you're a part-time reseller, but just really go slow, you know, and like you said, build relationships. Like you and me have a relationship, and I like resellers. I, you know, you guys are my lifeblood too. So that's really important. So, I mean, that's it. Just take your time. I mean, there's stuff that I've seen people pass up and I'm like, you're not going to get that. And then somebody else comes behind him and buys it and is going to resell it.
So that's, I mean, I say the same thing about garage sales. You know, there's, you know, I did the video recently about, you know, for me, I don't want to have a niche. You know, my niche is being nicheless. You know, if you're full-time, I think you can make that work. Mark, we mentioned him. He certainly does. And right now, Mark's making a lot of money, I think, because his niche is men's outdoor clothes, camo, hunting. All of that sells right now.
Well, also with Mark, though, too, I think he's built that brand and people and those followers that know it. And you're right, it's that niche. Like, and he's good at it. And he's been doing it forever. And he's got it. God, Mark, if you're on here, you're really getting a lot of praise, man. When you come in, I'm not going to be that nice to you. No.
Marcia says, I spend 2 to 3 hours in a thrift store. I love looking through everything. You never know what you will find. Yeah, I don't know if I'm in there 2 or 3 hours, Marcia.
Yeah, well, that's good.
You're way more committed than I am, but you know, yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon for me to, you know, it depends on the day and sort of the mission, right? But if you go in thinking, you know what, I've got 45 minutes, I can spend them. Sometimes I look in different areas, you know, an area that I don't know anything about, partly because I'm part-time and I know Mark's been through and he's cleared out the men's clothes. Jeff's gone in there and cleared out the women's clothes. There's that other guy, I don't know his name, but I see him all the time. He's cleared out the electronics. What's left? And so that's why I found all these weird little things that sell for good money that people don't know about because they're not looking at the toys or the board games or the plush, you know, whatever it might be.
And that's one of the reasons why I like watching your channel. And I do watch when you, like we were talking earlier, you do like what sold those 5 days. And I have a friend of mine actually who wants to get into reselling. And I'm like, watch his videos because it will show you the things you need to look for. And you look for everything. Like if you're really going to be viable in the business and make money, and even Marcus went off on some, you know, a few things that he probably normally wouldn't sell. But you have to just be open to everything. And it was crazy. There's stuff that I go, okay, I'm going to scan this. It's probably $5 and it's $80. And you're like, okay. And then breast pump, you know what I mean? Like brand new. I don't know, but it's crazy.
Yeah. Marcia saw the pickle keepers. I keep looking for one in Aaron's store. Every time I go to Aaron's store, I look in his little Tupperware cubby.
I know, that's all I think about now, because so if I find one, I'll just hold it for you because that's all I ever think about. Pickle keepers. I want to try one out, honestly.
Mark found 2 of them the other day at Goodwill. He sent me a picture of them. He's been looking for them because he saw them on my video, and he found 2 on the same day.
You're giving this Mark too much information.
I know. So, I mean, is ultimately the biggest thing, and we mentioned it before, but building that relationship, not necessarily, I mean, because the manager might not be willing to have that relationship, right? Like,
yeah, no.
And that manager, she knows who I am. She doesn't want anything to do with me. Not because she doesn't like me. She just doesn't like resellers.
Yeah. And it's just a mindset. Like, yeah.
There are workers in all of those sections. You know, I talked with the guy. I don't think he's even there now, but he was in electronics. And he was like, hey, I was looking at an old Sony Handycam. And he's like, oh, yeah, we get those in sometimes. Sometimes we get the tapes. I'll let you know if we ever get the tapes in. You know, I'll let you know. because I bought the handy cam and he thought, oh, I'm going to need the tapes.
Yeah.
And so he would let me know, like, oh, well, those tapes are worth some good money, some of those.
Oh,
So build up, even if the manager of a place doesn't necessarily like resellers, places bigger than Aaron's have departments. Those people don't care.
no.
I mean, it sounds like you worked with them. I don't
and they're all there's a whole new crew there, and that's part of the problem too, is you get so much influx of new people. So I don't know, what but you're right, build a relationship with them. I mean, they're the ones putting it out every day. They're the ones that are going to know when good stuff comes in, and that's your biggest tool. I mean, it's hard. Like it's a weird, that place is that place. I can't speak for every thrift store, but I gotta think they're all about the damn same.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what I kind of assume is they're all on a model.
There is. I mean, Goodwill's probably got the best model for sorting. Like I did like a tour of Goodwill one time just to see what they do. They process things very smartly, and that's why they're a very wealthy thrift store. I wouldn't even call them a thrift store. I don't know what to call them, but and you can find some good stuff there. The reason why I'm not against Goodwills, like I think they are sometimes pricey, but for us, you get a big variety of stuff that you would never find in Helena, Montana. That's the great thing. They switch things out all over. So, I don't even think about ever being in competition with Goodwill. I would never be nowhere near that. But that's the one reason I like Goodwill, just like the variety.
Is there, and recognizing that this is going to be different at every thrift store in every city across the country, but is there some kind of schedule generally for Goodwill and Good Samaritan and those bigger, more, this is how we do this thing? For you, it's whenever you can make it happen because you're a small crew. Is there a schedule for when the good stuff essentially is out there?
Yeah, definitely. There's like we had set goals, and you had to do 5 carts a day on some places. Of course, that it always didn't meet it. But I think your best times are probably to get to if they have half off sales. Like I have a half off sale every Wednesday here. Every Wednesday we do half off. So Tuesday is the day to come. Like if you want to find something, that's the day to come. So I don't know. I especially when I worked at Good Sam before that big push, the first Friday of the month, I just pushed stuff out as much as I could. So you had more stuff, the more stuff out, more people were going to buy stuff. That, and there is schedules. I know Goodwill has schedules too, and they have quotas and they have to get so many out a day. But with the turnover and all that stuff, it's really hard to keep any goals because you don't have anybody to work there. That's like the biggest problem. So it was hard to keep goals. So it's hard to know when people do things. I know Goodwill has goals. I know they need to get so many racks out a day and process so much. But how can you do it with no employees? You're paying $9 an hour to do a work job. It's pretty strenuous sometimes.
Yeah. So the best time, just in theory, is if they're going to have a sale. If they know people are going to be there, they're going to put more product out on the floor ahead of that so that they sell more stuff. Be there that day before. Don't worry. Don't maybe still show up at the sale, right? But show up that day before because there's going to be more stuff to choose from.
We hope anyway, and it all comes down to employees. It all comes down to, any thrift store's got a lot of stuff. This world's got tons of stuff. Like when I started this, I told my wife, babe, we could just get the crumbs of those 2 big stores and we'd be fine. And that's where we are. I'm just getting the crumbs. And I hate to say crumbs because it's good stuff and people are coming from all over. And I have people switch that don't even go there anymore and just come donate to me. So it's all good stuff in that aspect, but we're, it's just building a brand and hopefully we rise to the top.
And then in terms of donations, it's probably safe to assume that you get most of your stuff like Saturday evening, Sunday, when people's garage sales are done, or
Mondays
donations flow in.
Monday is my busiest day, but that's busy because it's closed for donations at Good Samaritan. They're closed Sundays and Mondays. Okay. And I don't know how Goodwill does it, but Monday is one of my biggest days just because everybody's held it over the weekend and they're ready to, unload it.
Right. How long does it take? Again, recognizing you're different, but how long does it take then to get that new stuff out? Because I think we've all shown up at thrift stores, 2 days later and gone, this is the same stuff that I've already sorted through. Right. So nothing new has come out or very little new has come out. When does stuff hit the floor?
For me, it's, I try to do it consistently, but, that's why I do half price every Wednesday because you want to circulate new stuff. I've had people come in here once a week and always tell me They see new stuff every time they come in here, and they love that. And I think that's if I ran that big thrift store, and I tried, but if I just sales, get it out of there. What's it care? Who do you care if you get 50 cents or you get, $5? You get money in the bank that you didn't have, and you don't have no money into it anyway. So, I mean, that's what drove me nuts too. I'm like, people will buy more items, get more things out, and you'll still make the same amount of money, and you'll have less, left stuff out. We do like a $5 bag sale here for clothes every Saturday. You fill the bag clothes for $5, and there, if you did that at that place, shoot, you could make a lot of money on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, it's easier because I have some really great volunteers, and I've been doing it so long that I could cruise through. I could do 60, 70 boxes a day. If I had time in there by myself, I could cruise through it all.
Yeah.
So it just depends, in a big place like that, it's really hard. So
your mentality is different. I mean, you're pricing this stuff to move. I mean, you're putting $2 on stuff going, you know what? I want somebody to buy it for $2. That's $2 that somebody donated to me, essentially.
Yeah,
let's move it the door and leave room for the next $2 item.
Yeah, I never understood. Like if you they felt like, in a lot of places, I think, feel like you have to put big prices on it to make your margins. But at the end of the day, like I said, you can still make your margins and sell a lot of cheap stuff. I mean, and they're buying more, So I just never understood that philosophy. And I think, I expect if I go to a thrift store, sure, there's going to be some items that they need to be priced well, but I expect I price everything a quarter. So I do a quarter of the price of what it would be new. If it's brand new in the box, then I do half the price of what it would be new when I sell stuff. So if something was $10, I would say $3. I think that is a fair thrift store price. Like, that's fair. That's a quarter of the price. That's, that's more than half. But what I also do too, what thrift stores don't do is I dicker. Like if you want to, if you say $4, I'm taking $4. I was always told, especially by my dad, if you let somebody walk out of your store without their hard-earned money in your pocket, you're a fool. So I want all your money that you worked for in my pocket. And I don't care if it's $1 or $50. Let's make a deal. Yeah.
Well, and I think that idea of, your pricing and the strategy, I think that works for eBay stores too. I mean, we talked before the show started about, I'm selling some stuff for $5.99 free shipping, maybe because I got it in a bulk deal, or $9.97 free shipping on a t-shirt. Well, that's okay because it takes me 5 pictures, whatever it is, very quick to list. When it sells, I slide it into a bag. It takes 30 seconds from picking it off the shelf to having a label on it. You just made $5 in 2 or 3 minutes worth of work. I'm okay with that.
Well, I also think you doing that is the filler, like we said, it's filler to other items that are going to sell for more. And then it puts you in a different ranking. You're selling that stuff all the time. I mean, you're just going to go up and up, and more people are going to know you and come back. So that person that spent the $5.99 on your item comes back next week and spends $200 on a pair of shoes. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just customer relations. And nowadays, the way things are going, especially with COVID and all that, I mean, e-commerce is the way to be. And people are looking for those $5.99 items, but they're also going to like your store and buy that big item also. So I think it's a smart strategy in a lot of ways. It is a little more work, but what isn't work? I mean, it's a hustle. You got a free bin or you got in a bulk, you paid $1. I mean, it's $10. It's $9. That $9 on top of $500 looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's sort of my strategy is, I'm not finding those home run items very often. Mm-hmm. So when I do, it's fantastic, but I can sell a whole lot of little items, and that volume is going to make up the difference. And that's kind of what you're doing too, is you're making your money on volume.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's all volume. And what I've always told everybody that comes in here, like, you treat people good, you give them a good deal. Where are they going to donate next time? Yeah. So I didn't only just make the $10 for them. I just made 3 bags of clothes, a box of, of house goods, and, whatever else. I just made that. So I honestly made maybe $200 off that person because they had a good time. They got a really good deal, and they're going to bring me back their stuff. And that's how I consistently have volume of stuff, is because you just treat people right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that does translate. I mean, because I've had people come in and they buy that $5.99 thing, but then they go, oh, look, he's got that for $5.99 too.
Yeah.
That one. Oh, and that's just $6. I mean, all of a sudden your 3, $5 items turned into, you can combine the shipping, and all of a sudden you made $15 or $20.
Well, it's like all the Hot Wheels you have. I mean, it takes one guy loves Hot Wheels and like let's say just buy them all, or you know what I mean, make an offer. I don't know all the 400 you have, but whatever you have listed, they're just into it. They say, "Hey, do you have any more?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got tons of more. Do you want, want to make a deal?" So you never know what's going to happen, and that's what I love. And I tried eBay for a while. It wasn't that I wasn't successful at it. I'm a more in-person seller, and I like the thrift store vibe. And it takes a lot of work. eBay is not a joke. I mean, people want to say, "Oh, I'm going to be an eBayer." Well, good fucking luck. Excuse my language. Like, you better know what you're doing, because you're putting your own money into it. I mean, that's that too. I mean, and you got to know what you're looking for, and like you say, just sell everything you can.
Yeah. Well, man, I want to respect your time. I know you just closed right before you came on. So I told you an hour. We're going to get you out of here at 7, so you can actually get home. Mia still likes me, and so I don't want to get in trouble.
She doesn't like me, so she don't mind. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you chatting, and thanks for everybody that came in. I sure appreciate it. Any parting words for folks? Now you're just stuck.
Yeah. I wish I could open there too. Wherever you are, let's do it. Big sky worldwide, There
you go. You got a partnership opening up other stores, other places. I like it.
Yeah, you never know. I like partnerships. There's no reason why you can't. I mean, there's so much stuff in this world. It's amazing. It's crazy.
Eddie says he's been lurking and shipping. He wishes that you would open a store there. So there you've got a potential location.
I know. I love it. But you could do it. Yeah. And I got to give you all the good deals, though. That's what's up. I don't mind.
Right. Guys, I appreciate you coming in. I'm going to look, there's Mary McQueen. She's been hanging out too. Find a manager of a thrift store when you find an item you don't care about that has more value, and offer them knowledge. Yeah. The problem is sometimes they don't like you telling them what they don't know.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, that's the truth. And that's a great idea. I mean, knowledge is everything. I mean, but how many people take that in? They get offended. Oh, we all could learn. I think that's a great idea. You just got to find, I don't know where you're from, but you just got to find those mom and pop places that are, want to sell to you. We're never going to get through to Goodwills. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's going to be a hard one to break. I mean, you'll build some relationships, but finding mom and pop places and just building those relationships with those people, they want your money. I want your money, and I want you to make money. And if I can get it out of my store quickly, let's do it. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just trying to find those places.
Yeah. And I think that can help build relationship. I was talking with your guy today that there was a Nintendo DS cartridge in the glass case, and we were chatting a little bit, and he says, I don't know, it's probably about $15. I says, well, let's look it up. So we looked it up, and I said, well, yeah, if you had the case, and the manual and all that, you're looking at $12 or $15, but this is just the game cartridge. It's priced at $5. That's probably about what it's worth. It's worth about $6 or $7, $5, $6, $7. That's exactly spot on. That's what it's worth. And he was like, oh, okay. He says, I've been trying to find more stuff to put in this front case that looks really cool. And I says, well, you got a belt buckle there. Let's look at it. Right. Yeah. And so, we pulled it out, we looked at it, and I said, yeah, I guarantee you this is going to sell at some point. I sold it today. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. I told you, I was like, you know what? It's not brand. I was hoping it was John Deere.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah. And it wasn't branded. And I said, you know what? I'm not interested in this one today, but at a garage sale, I'd probably pick it up for $1.
Yeah, it's $1 item. I mean,
it's going to sell in the store, guarantee it. And so obviously I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's sold. Yeah, I had $5 on it, which wasn't horrible. I mean, it was a leather. People just buy things all the time, even if they don't need them. I always tell people when they walk in, enjoy your shopping experience and buy something that you do not need, because when people walk through a thrift store, they don't know what they want till they see it. So your biggest thing is to just have as much out as you can.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
We've now kept you for exactly 59 minutes. So I'm gonna.
Well, I don't know if you've kept me. You might have kept these fine people. I just ranted. I don't know if I even made any sense, but
no, I think there's a few nuggets in there. So, guys, thanks for coming in. I sure appreciate it. I don't know for sure, but pretty much every Monday night, he's the second half of the doubleheader. Joey Bada Bing 22, he's got his live show. Usually it's just a hangout and listing session. At least that's what it's been lately. So go over there, Joey Bada Bing 22. Go hang out with him. He is naturally caffeinated. That guy is the most excitable mailman I've ever met. Fantastic guy. So go say hi to Joey. Tell him I sent you over there. And if you're ever here in Helena, in Montana, look me up. We'll go and we'll hang out with Aaron.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Guys, I appreciate it. We'll see you.